So if somebody that you already knew before they had a child has a child, you can still call them using their name. So when my friend and coworker Kyungeun had her daughter, I didn't suddenly stop calling her Kyungeun and start referring to her as Minsongi Amma altogether. But the parents of her daughter's classmates will usually refer to her and address her as Minsongi Amma, and that's because their relationship is based on their kids, right? And this is also very natural and easily predictable in many other cultures too. But there is another reason, another very interesting reason that this might be more common in Korea. So today's topic is based on the question posted by Liza on Twitter, in which she said, in K-dramas, people often address each other like Songhee's mother or my kid's father, whether they talk to their spouse, a friend, or a stranger. Why don't they just call the person's name? Is it used more often in real life than calling the person's name? Fantastic question, and if you have questions related to the Korean language or the Korean culture, please tweet to us at TTMIK or leave your questions down below as comments. So to give you the bottom line first, there are mainly two reasons, a cultural reason and a linguistic one. The cultural reason is that there are so many different ways you can address someone, refer to someone, other than just using the person's first name or even the last name. So you might want to stick to the most neutral and safest option. And what I'm calling the linguistic reason is that Korean speakers in general don't really mind using the same repeated word as the subject of many sentences that are said together. For example, if a group of friends are talking about somebody's new girlfriend, maybe the first thing they will ask to do is to see her photo, and then they will go on to ask the guy how old she is, very, very important, and what her hobbies or job is and stuff like that. But then they will often skip asking what her name is. And this is because in Korean it is perfectly okay to just keep saying 여자친구 or 여친 to refer to her in your sentences, whereas in English you will naturally just find yourself saying, oh, Jane and I, Peter and I, James and I, stuff like that. In Korean, it is more okay to use the same word. So here's another example. Before I married my wife, my mother-in-law used to just call me Hyunwoo and refer to me as Hyunwoo as well, because I was just her daughter's boyfriend. I didn't have a special title other than, that boyfriend of my daughter's, something like that. And before my son was born, I was also kind of in the gray area. I was her son-in-law, but I didn't really have an official title that could be used in every situation. So maybe she referred to me as Sawi, her Sawi, in her social gatherings, but she never really called me Hyunwoo anymore, because calling me Hyunwoo would make me feel like I'm still a young boy and immature. So now, since we have two kids, and usually you use the first kid's name to refer to someone as so-and-so's dad or so-and-so's mother, so she safely calls me and comfortably calls me Juni Appa, both to actually address me and also to refer to me. And whenever she wants to say you in Korean, like what about you, when will you come home, things like that, she just says 준이 아빠는 뭐 먹을 거야? What will you have for dinner or lunch? Stuff like that. So she uses 준이 아빠 as a very safe and comfortable and neutral term to refer to me and address me, and also to replace you. You can also find this happening in other kinds of social situations. So for example, if you're a company employee and you belong to a 부, a department, the head of that 부 will be called 부장님, right? And then it is safer and more neutral to refer to that person as just 부장님, and also replace the word you with 부장님. 부장님은 뭐 좋아하세요? Hey, you, department manager, what do you like? Stuff like that, rather than using the person's real name. Of course, this can also depend on the actual history of the two people's relationship. So for example, Kyunghwa, a Talk to Me in Korean teacher, as you all know, she still calls me Hyunwoo Oppa or just Oppa, because we met before I created Talk to Me in Korean. So she was already my 아는 동생, a friend that I know, or I was already 아는 오빠, somebody that she knew before we started working together. Whereas Juyeon just refers to me and also calls me 대표님 because we met after I created Talk to Me in Korean, and she met me for the first time as a potential, employee maybe. So it's a more of a strict company title, although we were all good friends. So it really depends on the history of the two people's relationship. So the titles used within the family that I mentioned earlier are usually pretty much set in stone once you get married, and especially once you have children. Other types of social titles can change as time goes by and as people become closer friends. So I talked about Kyungwon's daughter's classmates' parents referring to her as 민성이 엄마. That can change too after a few beers. Kyungwon loves drinking, by the way. And after a few picnics, they become closer friends. They finally know each other's real names, and then they call each other 언니, 동생, etc., etc. That can happen too. On the downside, this kind of phenomenon can mean fewer opportunities for your cherished personal name to be used by other people. But on the upside, it can also work as a reminder of how the relationship was formed in the first place, or when it was formed, as well as what bond is considered to be more important in this relationship, in this particular relationship. And using this kind of information, you can tell when somebody refers to someone else as 준이 아빠 or 민성이 엄마, so and so's mom. You can at least know that they clearly didn't meet in a company meeting or a professional setting. They met through their kids. Okay, or they are maybe family members. So that's it for today's Q&A video. If you have any other questions that you want to ask us, please let us know in the comments or on Twitter at TTMIK. And also be sure to visit our website at talktomeinkorean.com, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!